Randi Weingarten is awful. For those who don't know who she is, I think,
head of the biggest teachers union.
Yeah, she was, what was it? She was on, I think it was, I'm trying to remember who it was that called, it was one of Trump's old cabinet members who said she's the most dangerous person in America. She's the most dangerous person in America. So she was out crying and whining and moaning about, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. The usual stuff that she does, because she's Randi Weingarten. But she was talking today about the insanity of Elon and them cutting stuff. And like I said earlier, everybody always goes to the negative. Nobody ever, like the Republicans will go to the positive because, that's what you do with your own team. But nobody on the other side can't just say for a moment, maybe it does work. You don't know.
If you look at the Constitution, it's the Congress who appropriates. It's the Congress that makes laws. The president signs it and executes the law. But it's really only the Congress that can abolish the Department of Education. So, but what the president can do and what they're doing, and you see it in all of the, with the chainsaw that Elon Musk used, over and over again in these last month or so, they can make government basically ineffective, not work by 1,000 cuts. And that's what they're doing. So if you essentially fire the entire staff or 80% of the staff of Social Security and somebody needs to get their Social Security card, they're not going to be able to get it in a timely way.
How do you know? Now, honestly, nobody ever asked the question, well, how do you know that? Like, how do you know that they're not going to implement something?
Because cuts.
Because cuts, that's right. Because the 12 people that have to handle that piece of paper for it to go from point A to point B, which will take weeks to do, those things will no longer be there. How do you know that they're not going to implement certain things that are going to cut down the cost, A, of doing business, but most importantly, aren't going to streamline point A to point B so we can get to point Z? Because right now what happens is we have those 26 points, point A all the way through. Instead, why can't we just go from point A to point Z? Just get it done. Why can't we? She continues because, again, it's always about school.
If you fire everybody who's doing, Hurricane Watch, you're not going to have Hurricane Watch. If you fire everybody at USAID.
Hold on a second. Wait, so if we fire everybody at Hurricane Watch, we don't have hurricane. So I want to get this correct. So you mean to tell me that all of those people who live in Florida and some of these other coastal places who have radar as well will no longer know if a hurricane's coming? I just want to know if that's what you believe to be true, Randi.
If you fire everybody at USAID, the farmers who are basically selling their foodstuffs to USAID because they don't have a market in the United States, they're not going to be able to do that. And the same is true in terms of education. If you fire everybody or you make it non-feasible for it to work, then none of the laws that are supposed to be affected or effectuated by the department will work.
So worried about what? Her power. You do realize, and this is something I don't think people realize, 20 to 30% is the amount of money that makes it to the classroom from the feds. 20 to 30%. A vast majority of your money that makes it into the classroom which isn't enough anyways, which is only 40 to 60%, comes from the state. So think about that for a second. The state still only gets, let's say, 50%. Some states it's more, some states it's less. But they're worried not about the money. They're worried about the power. They don't want to lose the power because that's the most important thing. The power. She's not worried about losing if they pull this and we don't exist. If you could still allow her to keep her power, she'd probably be fine with that. Because that's what it's about.
And to your point about red states versus blue states, more of this money goes to red states. So I've said to our folks in red states in particular, go to your school board, because states and localities run schools. Go to your school board. Ask them what's going to happen. How much money are we going to lose if we don't have Title I, if we don't have IDEA? And how is that money going to be replaced? Is it going to be property taxes raised in Jackson, Mississippi? Is it going to be property taxes raised in Montgomery, Alabama? How are we going to have that funding that helps kids in schools?
How do we have it now? Because if a vast majority of your money goes to administrative costs, to NGOs, to being pushed from point A to point B that has nothing to do with anything other than hiring more administrators, why do we need you at all? We don't. We didn't need you before 1980. We don't need you now.
You know what she makes a year?
Oh, I'm sure $400 grand?
500,000.
500,000. It's a good job if you can get it.
And most of that's, I'm sure, coming from tax money that the unions get from government.
Of course. So much of what it is. And she gets all upset because it's her job. They're coming after her job. If they were coming after a agency inside of the government that they couldn't stand, I don't hear her standing up going, we need more money for the military. We need more. No, this is about them. Oh, but you're going to take away from the kids, which is the biggest bunch of crap. Man, I came from a state. And Chris and I were talking about how to, somebody said, Chad, you keep saying going south is you shouldn't say going south. It's going down. Going south is a good thing. Well, there we used to call it going south. Here I'll say, California fell apart.
Whoever told you that is wrong. We say going south here all the time.
Well, this guy said it. Or I'm assuming it's a guy. If I'm wrong, it could be a midget. Why are you laughing, Bill? What'd I do? How many times was that?
5.
Okay, 5. But California is great at always rolling out the kids for something. Always rolling out that's about the kids. It's about the kids. All these states are. It's never about the kids. And it's never about the teachers, by the way. How about this? We cut administrators in half. We streamline with technology the jobs that they're supposed to do. We then take that money, put it into the classroom, which means paying teachers what they're worth, holding them accountable, so they can get to 75, 100 grand a year with bonuses. Who's with me on that? Hell to the yeah. 100%. This bunch of malarkey about, oh my God, it's always about the kids and who's going to do this, who's going to do that. I got news for you. I'm with Rahm Emanuel. He said, I don't want to hear anything about the bathroom, talking about the trans issue, until you guys fix what's going on in what? The classroom. Kids can't read. They can't do math. They don't know science. They can't figure out where up is down. They don't even know what the daylight savings is all about. They can't tell you the 3 branches of government. They're like snap, crackle, and pop. I don't know. That's a dangerous person who cares singularly about the power. It's not about the kids. For 500 grand a year, she's trying to protect her ass. I get it. But enough of it. It's about the kids. Who's going to teach the kids to read? I don't know. We're asking that question now. And we spend more money per pupil than any other developed nation. Except you know where we spend that money? Anywhere but the classroom. Damn Skippy. Don't get me wrong. Let's see here. Who is the woman I just joined late? That is Randi Weingarten. She is the leader of the teachers union, the federal side of stuff. She leads everything.
And she's also on the Democratic National Committee.
Yeah.
She's a member of the DNC.
She is, yeah. She is, very powerful in the Democratic world. But she's fallen on deaf ears, even by a lot of Democrats. And one of the big issues has been, I'm telling you, and I said this when it was happening. When COVID went south and they started closing schools, I said, let me tell you something, because my on-air partner when I was out in Arizona, his wife was a teacher. Hi, Lynette. I love her. She's great. But he was very defensive of teachers. And I said, let me tell you something that's going to happen. You know who doesn't forget? Parents. Parents are going to see what's happening. Parents are going to get a real snapshot into what's going on in schools, and they're going to get frustrated. And they're going to get frustrated at the teachers' unions. Maybe not so much at the teachers, but what they're going to do is they're going to keep that in the back of their mind. And when time comes across the country to raise taxes for all kinds of things when it comes to the classroom, parents don't forget. And they haven't. And Randi Weingarten, for years, she had wide open path to run amok and all kinds of stuff. And that has fallen on deaf ears to a lot of people.